View from the Gutters presents Back Matter, Episode 4. On this episode, Eric Manix fills us in on the panels he saw at Emerald City Comic Con. All right, you ready? You got all your con notes?
I got them on my brain pan. Like, yeah, I'm ready.
All right, sounds good. All right, hey everybody, welcome back to another issue of Back Matter. Eric wasn't able to be with us on our last week's episode for Comic-Con coverage, so...
But I'm here now.
We're going to do some more Comic-Con coverage now.
Yeah.
That's right. I was hoping to get Matt on this one, but he is unfortunately unavailable today, so it's just me and Eric tonight. And I'm Andrew Chard, as always.
Yeah, Eric Manix.
Yeah, and so we are going to talk about Comic-Con. I already talked about everything that I did. I think I forgot some stuff, but I may remember as I go on this one. But Eric went to just about every panel that existed this weekend on Saturday. So
I just went Saturday only. My original plan was to go all 3 days. Because it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And those are all full days now. The longer the con's been around, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. This was
because there's a little bit of Thursday now too.
It's like crazy, yeah, because it's the 12th year now they've done it. Now, the first time I went was 2011, and that was pretty big then. So I guess when it started, it wasn't even at the convention center where it is now. It's in this gigantic convention center downtown, and it's like 6 stories, and now it takes up like the entire thing, and they rent the Sheraton Hotel across the street as well.
Yeah, that's for the
gaming and stuff. So right off the bat, I can tell you I basically floated between the 3rd and 4th floors for most of my day. So my brother Peter, who's not terribly into comic books, he likes reading The Walking Dead, and Spider-Man's his all-time favorite comic book character, so he's read some Spider-Man stuff here and there since like the 80s, when he was a little kid. I took him with me. The main reason he wanted to go is he's working on a webcomic himself, and there was a lot of cool panels on how to self-publish and kind of how to do your own thing and stuff that he thought would be pretty fun. Because he doesn't really know much about the artists and writers that were going to be there, which we'll get into in a minute.
Good stories.
I've got some fun stories that happened because of my brother's ignorance to comics culture, I guess. But so my brother decided to drive. The tickets sold out like at least a couple months in advance. They sold out crazy early this year.
The 3-day passes were gone.
They were gone
almost immediately.
So my brother, he mentions to me like maybe a week and a half before the con, like, I'd kind of like to go to the con this year. We're like, you're kind of out of luck, bro. And he's like, I know a guy at work that's selling a ticket for like $80, which is double what the ticket actually went for. So I was like, well, don't do that. Don't spend $80. Don't go to a scalper. Don't. I mean, I'll see what I can do. I can't make any guarantees, but people have been bringing tickets back in if they can't make it, and that's exactly what happened. Someone wasn't able to go, so I snatched up the ticket at the appropriate price. So as a thank you, my brother drove. I picked up my buddy Jamie, who records Out of the Fridge, a good friend of mine, to buy a pension from View from the Gutters. Hitched a ride with us. And this kid, Nate, who I ended up knowing from the shop, is actually really good friends with my brother Peter. So that was funny. So I'm like hearing about this guy, Nate, the whole time. Like, we're going to pick up this one more guy. And then we rolled up to his house, and it was this dude I knew already. So that was kind of fun. So we just got, 4 dudes rolling up to Comic-Con. It was a lot of fun. There was, even before we, left town, there was, Jamie lost or forgot his Comic-Con pass. Thankfully, we were, half a mile from the house or something. So all kinds of shenanigans ensued even by the time we got on the road. But we finally got up there, finally found parking, Spent $26 freaking dollars to park when we
Dude,
were
I got
done
a
at the end of
secret
the
for
day.
everybody. I gotta tell you, it's down on 4th. It's like on 4th and Stewart. It's called Securities Parking.
Really?
I parked there on Friday for $18. And I parked there on Sunday at their weekend rate for $7.
What?
So if you can stand the walk from 4th Avenue
I will walk.
and Stewart, which is not that far. I don't
No.
know if anybody, no one listening knows
We
Seattle,
parked like
but...
right over by like GameWorks.
No. You got to go down the hill.
stupid.
You got to go down the hill. There's that. It was $7 for weekend parking for
That's-
all day. Like that's where it's at.
More planning next
yeah,
year.
next time securities parking.
Yeah, no, that's
I mean, it was empty. I parked right next to the elevator on the very first
Nice.
floor of the parking garage. There was
Nice.
like no one in that parking garage. So I don't feel bad about letting that secret out. It's not like it was
for
full
sure.
up, but yeah, parking in Seattle is very difficult. And if you don't go
it's a real pain in the
a lot
ass.
early, we didn't talk about this, but I got there like I don't know, probably right at 10 on Friday, and I spent an hour and 20 minutes parking. Because just getting through downtown, like leaving the freeway and then getting to the lot that I was going to park at was a nightmare. But
Yeah. Oh, one other thing I should mention. I got to go for free. My boss owns a comic book store, and her husband is a writer. And
we've mentioned the show we mentioned the shop on our regular shows. The shop
Yeah.
that I used to work for, that Eric works for, that Matt works at,
Yeah.
that Bernard used to work at. Bunch of people who've been on the show. Sam Lucino works there,
Yeah.
so we're very affiliated with.
it's
that
kind of
stuff.
like our home base, if
Yeah.
you will. But so I got to use my boss's pass because she got like basically just a 3-day pass. You know, it was like a special. Like my pass was all
she
like,
gets
big
the
and cool.
presenters
Yeah,
passes
yeah.
because they're
Basically, anyone that like had anyone that
Um,
had like a table and stuff, like that's the kind of badge that I had. So I probably looked more important than I actually was.
You were pretty important though because you were doing some show coverage by
That's-
listening to all the panels.
Right. Well, and that's initially I thought I was gonna have to go up there, hunt down Gab's husband Eric, and get the pass like right before they opened. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I actually got the pass dropped off to me at work on Friday night because someone had used it Friday. Because Gab just ended up going Sunday. 'Cause
Right.
she's not big on crowds. But so that was cool. So I didn't, going into Saturday morning, there wasn't too much to worry about other than, here's the other thing I'll say. You guys don't know my brother. My brother Peter, I love him to death. But I told him to show up at 7 a.m. at my house, knowing full well that I didn't have to leave until roughly 8 a.m. So he rolls up at 7:45, speeding up like Uncle Buck or something, right? Smoke flying out of his car, like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry, this never happens." And it's like the man's 30 years old, like I don't know him at this point, right? Like, "Oh, I never do this, man, but I slept in," and I'm like, stop right there. You're 30 fucking years old. Like, I've known you your entire life. Like, I've lived with you even into adulthood, like for years, and you're gonna come at me like I don't fucking know you. Like, really, dude. And it's fine, because he was like terribly insulted because I told him, "Well, I told you 7 a.m. because I knew for a fact you would be late." Like, "Oh, but I'm not." Like, you're always late, and that's fine. That's fine. I know that. There's people that have to program their watches fast or whatever. I need to program you fast, so I tell you the wrong time on purpose so you show up on time, and it worked. And so that was fun. Yeah. I'll say too. So my brother's a large fat man. We picked up Jamie. Jamie was the last one we picked up. We instantly had to go to Jack in the Box, and we're still in Olympia at this point, right? So like, at this point, it is fucking feeling like forever, and it's like, I don't know, 9 in the morning, but the con opens at 10. We're trying to get there, and Seattle's an hour drive, barring any traffic being in the way. When my brother eats, he has some gastrointestinal thing where he immediately shits. like for real. It's not healthy. Like, I don't know how he hasn't died of malnutrition, because your body is clearly not processing. You know what I mean? So we're like I don't think I had even received my food yet, and he's coming out of the bathroom like after already like slamming down some stuff and like shitting and coming out. So right away we're off to a good start. And again, this is after Jamie had already forgotten his pass. So it's like, my God. And I'm already on like my second cup of coffee. Nate, the other kid that we picked up, he's got kids, so he's been up since like 5 in the morning. That was the other funny thing, is like me and Nate both have kids. We've been up since the butt crack of dawn anyway, so we're like raring and ready to go. Everyone else in the car looks like death warmed over, like they're just like, because I apparently, like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday is early to some people, but
Pretty fucking early to me. I don't know about you.
Again, it's 7 a.m. for me, regardless of, and that's on a good day. But I have a toddler, so
they wake you up.
Yeah, good old kids. But yeah, so we finally get up there, pay $26 to fucking park. There are scalpers everywhere on the street.
Oh man, so many.
Which is who goes for that? I don't get it, man. I mean, it didn't seem like it was working. I mean, I think I didn't see anyone.
The guys
buying
I saw, they had like big stacks of tickets, and they were not selling well.
But that shit pisses me off though, man, because it's like there's so many people that wanted to go.
Yeah,
and those knuckleheads bought those tickets just hoping that they could jack them up in price.
Well, I saw people buying them, so I mean, it works.
That pisses me. Oh, yeah, and in Monster they wouldn't do it, but
at the same time, though, if you plan ahead, like. It's not like PAX where it sells out in like 4 hours. Like this, it took months. It took like a couple weeks for the 3-day passes to sell out. Yeah. So if you've got your ear to the ground and you've got your Google alerts on for when the passes are going, and you really want to go, like the fans that really wanted to go got tickets.
And that's a good note. I don't know if you mentioned this on the last show, but the minute the tickets go on sale, buy them. I mean, even if you don't think you can go or you're not sure, just buy them, because worst case scenario, you'll have to give it up.
You'll sell it at even if you sell it.
You
at
can
the price
easily sell it
to
someone else, so you won't lose money. Exactly. Because again, I work at a shop, and some people had to do that, and it was a bummer. Like, oh, sorry, I can't make it this year. But
well, I bought a ticket from a friend for the Sunday that he wasn't able to go. So like that happened for me. As I was like, I wasn't really planning on going more than one day. And then he was like, "Oh, I got this extra ticket. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Oh, I guess I'll go 2 days. That's no big deal." So, I mean, you definitely will retain. You won't lose any money on it for sure. So,
yeah, I felt like I was being herded like cattle. Like the minute I got into the convention center, because again, last time I went was 5 years ago. So this time around, and it was pretty crazy then. It's doubled in size since then, easily.
I think it's tripled since 2011.
It probably, it wouldn't surprise me. Because I'm the type of guy, personal space is a big thing for me. I mean, I worked with sex offenders for 9 years, so I guess I'm very aware of where I'm at and where other people's fucking hands are at all times. You know what I mean? You're bumping into people, not meaning to bump into people. It's just so packed. It's so crazy. And there was a lot of staff compared to the last time. And it was just like everyone had these little walkie-talkies. And it was like I was being heard. That's the only way I can describe it is like people were like, don't move. Like, no, keep moving. Keep moving. Stay to the right. Stay to the right. Don't stop. Don't stop. Can't stop. So, like, and I have a fucking social anxiety disorder. So me walking through the door, I'm like, oh, God. Oh, I'm like, I can't stop. I can't. What's going on here? So, like, that was fun. But, we finally got up to the 3rd or 4th floor, wherever the hell we needed to get our programs and lanyards and everything. And the first thing I had to do, actually, was I had a box of comics for Greg Rucka and Jan Van Meter that I needed to drop off. Because, again, working a shop, and, we had some of their books that they were going to, be selling and signing and doing all that fun stuff. So I was kind of, I'm not going to lie, that felt kind of cool. Like, I'm here on comic shop business. That's right. I got some books. So I got the books dropped off. Greg Ruck had a table right next to Brandon Juro and Eric Troutman, my boss. And so, made sure to say hi to them and then kind of bounced. Brother had to go to the bathroom again at that point. Yeah, my brother, he's
shit counter is up to 2 now.
Right, already. So already we're having a party. The interesting thing too is like the minute we get there, Toby is gone instantly. Like, I mean, we walk, like I get on the first escalator and like Toby is gone. Like I
went to PAX with Toby this year, and the same thing happened. I went to go meet the Game Grumps that were just like standing in the middle of the room, and I turn around and he's gone.
And it's like I didn't assume we were gonna hang out the whole time or whatever, but I figured there'd at least be like oh hey man, I'm gonna go over here. Like I got on the first escalator and I turned around like whoa, he's just gone, like gone. Nate at least made it up to like the 3rd floor and then was like, hey bro, I'm gonna go do this. And like, yeah, I spent the entire day with my brother because he didn't know where he was going, and I had to kind of guide him around. And really, part of it was we were just kind of hanging out, having some bro time, which was fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, Nate we would see occasionally. Jamie, we guess maybe after a couple hours of him doing his own thing, he met up with us during the DC panel, I believe it was, and then from then on, Jamie was with us. Basically, he kind of in the time that we were going to some of the panels that we were going to, he was kind of getting signatures, and he got a lot of prints and stuff. He went to shop. I did not. I intentionally did not bring money because I'm poor.
Yeah.
And well, I'm only going for one day, and I feel like it's so big and crazy this year. It's like you could spend one whole day pretty much just walking around, getting sketches, getting autographs, just meeting people that you want to meet. That could be one day in and of itself.
I spent 2 days doing that.
Yeah, easily, because there's so many cool people there. You could spend an entire day just shopping if you wanted. Like, cause there's so. One of my biggest regrets really is that I only went Saturday. Was my original plan was to go 3 days. At the beginning of this year, but I was planning on being in school by now. My school situation got messed up because the local community college is dumb and their financial aid department sucks.
They're super butts.
They're a bunch of dumb assholes. No disrespect to anyone that works there. That knows what I'm talking about. But they suck. So that was the original plan. So I was like, well, I'll just go Saturday then because I'll be busy doing homework and whatever. It's probably a good thing I didn't go all 3 days because my wife is pregnant and like hyper emotional right now. And me getting out to even do this show right now, I was like, why are you leaving? Like, because me going to work. Why are you going to work? Because I have to pay bills. I know you're sensitive and I'm trying to be cool, but come on, lady. So yeah, probably wouldn't have been a good idea to go 3 days.
Yeah, I think she would have been a little bit mad.
She would have murdered me. I would have been
like, why are you going out?
We're going out, you little comic book
fun,
friends.
Having a little fun weekend.
Yep, that's what would have happened. Yeah. At one point, I also thought about taking my daughter too, who was 2.5, and then I realized the reality of that situation was like she would love it for about an hour.
Yeah.
And then it'd be kicking and screaming and crying and poopy diapers and.
In a couple of years, though.
And in a couple of years,
I
think she'll dig it. Because my daughter's
there's
already...
like the cool Lego section. It's like not only did I love that, but that's super kids friendly.
I didn't even get to see the Legos.
Oh man, there was a section where you could play with Legos for like $5 for 10 minutes or something, and I was tempted by that.
That's again the biggest thing I'll say is there's too much to do. It was overstimulation.
Yeah,
which seems like a weird problem to have, but if you can go, guys, next year, go 3 days.
Oh, yeah. I would recommend it, too. I know that some people are a lot more able to do just a one-day con. They're not taking a ton of stuff to get signed. They have very few people that they want to talk to. They're not really buying a lot of prints. They're not interested in the panels. And you can do one day, and if you're, really streamlined like that, I know you can do it in one day. But for me, I've always loved the stress-free feeling of a multi-day con, where I know I'm going back, so I don't feel like I have to get in Mike Allred's line like first thing in the morning. Otherwise, I'll miss him.
It's a lot of pressure to get it all in.
I liked being able to take a couple, just wander around for a while and not feel rushed at all. And so I like the multi-day con feel.
Yeah, what we did is we got in there after losing Toby right away, and then Nate soon after. There was a panel I wanted to go to. It was something to the effect of writing strong female characters in fantasy. Mm-hmm. It sounded pretty cool, and especially for Out of the Fridge, I thought it would be cool, just to report on. And my brother was going to go to a panel run by a lawyer on how to understand your publishing contract, which sounded super boring as fuck, but again, my brother's trying to do his own zombie comic thing, so I was like, hey man, because basically I wrote an itinerary for me and then one for him. I figured we'll hang out a lot, but you can go do your thing and I'll do my thing and we'll meet back up. First panel I wanted to go to, that fantasy one, filled up instantly. So right when I get there, because again the con is so huge now, and it was one of the smaller little side rooms, but so that was a bummer. I had no idea who was running the panel. I mean, it might have been boring. I don't know. But, it sounded like it would have been kind of cool information to have and report on, but didn't get to. So we went and we sat on this lawyer one. So the first panel I went to was a fucking lawyer. And the thing is, too, so, most of the panels that I went to were about 50 minutes or so. So almost an hour. They give you, enough time to kind of hopefully walk around to get to the next place. So this was an hour of this, perfectly nice lady, but I don't know much about well, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't have any kind of legal training. I feel like for at least the first 35 minutes, it was all like, no, duh. Like, this is a contract, and this means this. And I get you kind of have to talk down to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
Basically, I felt like a fucking genius being in that room is what I'm getting at. 'Cause I'm walking around and there's these like mouth breathers, like, wait, what was that? Could you explain that again? Like, oh my God, like. And I don't know, it fucking blows my mind.
Did it feel like community college?
It kind of did, for real. And like again, it's not, it's rare that I feel like a genius, but in that room, I was like, damn, at least I'm not you motherfuckers. Like, God. Towards the end, thankfully, there was some actual useful information, and again, I don't care because I'm not trying to do my own writing thing, but my brother is, so he wrote down all the pertinent information he needed, and then honestly, that panel was still going on. It was just wrapping up, but we fucking bounced out of there because the next panel up was the Marvel Pint of CB panel. That one was cool. The fun thing. So they have a map in your brochure.
Yeah.
It's literally this giant like fold out thing.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
So it's supposedly like right upstairs, at least according to like the room number, right? So we go upstairs, and then because it's supposed to be like room 301, and we were in room 2, whatever. But then we get up there, it's like right above us, and it's like, oh, actually no, it's not this one. It's this one way the fuck across the convention. So you have to cross this sky bridge, which wouldn't be bad, but again, you're literally herding through a sea of fucking people. And I don't know if you've ever read X Factor 87 from way back in like 1991, where there's a scene where Peter David's writing Quicksilver because they're all having a meeting with Doc Samson and all getting like a psych profile basically. And everyone's like, "Why are you such a dick all the time, Quicksilver?" He's like, when you're like at the self checkout line and the person right in front of you is just like so fucking slow, and they're just like taking their time doing everything, and they keep like dropping stuff and fumbling things, and it's like, and you've done this like 100 times, and you'd be out of there in like 1 minute, and you know what to do, but you cannot move because they are in your way. He's like, that's all of you people, all the goddamn time, every minute of my fucking life.
Yeah,
I felt like that, like a large chunk of the day, like people like just. Yeah, like you get like that middle school thing where people like want to like open up a circle and just stand there and talk. And it's like, motherfucker, there are thousands of people here. Now is not the time.
yeah.
Now is not the fucking time. I don't know who the fuck you are. Move.
Yeah, the con staff was like really on like getting people to not take photographs on the sky bridge, but there were a lot of people just standing around.
Just
and
standing.
Like, it was hard because the sky bridge had, like I mentioned last week, but it had the Boom Studios booths on it, so it was like.
It's weird. I don't remember there being stuff on the sky bridge.
No, there used to be just the ATMs and like people hanging out on the sky bridge. Before.
But now it was like it was all loaded. So that was the thing. Is it was it wasn't too much of a distance thing, but more of a population density thing and getting through. And we managed to get to the Marvel panel, and we got pretty good seats. We were kind of seated somewhere in the middle. The Marvel one was cool because it was, I don't remember who moderated it, but Tom Brevoort, one of the big editors at Marvel, I read about him on like comic book resources and stuff all the time. So it was weird, like, dude, like seeing, like, that's you in real life.
CB Cebulski, was he there at all?
I think he was.
Yeah, I saw him around the con.
You can find the video too. I posted some links on Facebook. The
nice.
Flip on TV like they filmed like every single panel, every single
nice.
room. So I went back and watched like some highlights of it, even though I was there because I'm a huge dork. Like, what did they say in that part? Oh yeah, but it was really cool. So they had Jason Aaron, they had Kelly Sue DeConnick, they had G. Willow Wilson. They had Charles Soule. It was really fun. I even got up and I asked him a question. I asked him about a West Coast Avengers revival.
What?
And I got shot down because Tom Brevoort says no because he doesn't like the concept and he doesn't like the name
West
He doesn't
Coast
like the name. It's like, come on, man. We already know they're moving characters out there, but whatever. And also, I thanked Charles Soule and Willow Wilson and Kelly Sue for writing strong, empowered female characters. And Kelly Sue gave me some Carol Core dog tags for my daughter. So that was really cool. I mean, I've met Kelly Sue before, and she was super friendly. Her and Matt Fraction have come to the shop, but Oh, it's nice when you meet a writer, an artist, or whoever, and you love their work, and they're actually super cool.
Yeah.
It makes me
That's
like them more.
my
Like if they're a
favorite.
dick, I'm like, I
Yeah.
will never buy your shit again. Like fuck you, dude. Like
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are. If you're gonna treat me like I'm an asshole, like guess what? This is a business, motherfucker, and you don't get my money anymore.
Yeah.
So it's nice to reaffirm that. Oh, cool, man. I'm glad that my money going to you is a good thing because
Yeah.
that's cool. So the Marvel panel was a lot of fun. Marvel's my favorite. So of course, I was super stoked on that. People were being really mean to Jason Aaron. It was really annoying. Like, because the cool thing about the Marvel panel is it was nothing but Q&A the entire time. They basically did the introductions and they just opened up the floor. And for like an entire hour, you got to just ask questions. It was really cool, and they were being candid and being as cool as they could be. But yeah, like one of the first guys up to Jason was like, "You're like my fourth favorite Thor writer." Like, why would you say that? Like, what the hell is wrong with
Who
you?
has a list?
Yeah, like I don't know. It was like it's just such a dick move. And one of the guys, I don't know, he was bitching about something about the constant renumbering and that kind of thing. It's like, and that stuff drives me nuts too. But it's like, well, it works. People buy it. I mean, like yelling
totally.
at Tom Brevoort isn't going to fix it, right? But one kid, they were asking about Original Sin, the big event that's coming out, the whole like death of the Watcher and whatever that Jason Aaron's doing. Tom Brevoort straight whips out the script and is like, "Do you want to read it right now?" Like no shit, I have it right now. So the dude got to like straight up just sit right by Tom Brevoort and read the entire thing. I was so jelly, I'm not gonna lie. I was mostly freaking out because it was like, I'm curious to see what Tom Brevoort's copy of something would look like. You know what I mean? Because it's like clearly it's not like finished art and stuff too. Right. So it's like mostly script with like a few like maybe thumbnails or something. So it's like, I don't know, just like the comic fan in me, like I really would want to know what that would look like. Because so you've seen rough layouts and scripts and stuff in the back of some of your deluxe editions and things, but like what he had looked a little bit different. So I was like, I want to see that. So I kind of like,
he's the
I just want, it's like, dude, well, because he's the guy. He's so high up at Marvel. So it's like, it's just like for the G Whiz factor, that would have been cool to see. But yeah, the Marvel panel was what
were they saying to Jason Aaron? Was it just
it was just basically they're hating on him about Thor? Because then like another guy
why were they hating on him about Thor? Thor's so good.
First of all, Thor got a Thunder's the shit.
Yeah,
but then because some other guy got up there too, he's like, "Well, you're like my second favorite." And
what?
Technically, Walter Simonson is my favorite because I mean, how can you not have Walter Simonson's Thor and be your favorite?
Yeah.
But I got up there and I was like, "Well, you're my favorite," because I felt bad because everyone was being a dick. And Jason Aaron, he seems like a really nice guy.
I met him. He was like he seemed
and I do love
con fatigued when I met him, but he was he was cool. He signed a book for me. So.
Yeah. He signed my Amazing X-Men #1 later in the day. I went by his table and said hi to him. Yeah, he did look a little tired.
Yeah,
he seems super chill.
Yeah, I've seen interviews with him. He's a very cool guy. He's funny and he has like a very excited nature about him normally. Yeah. So it's like kind of weird to see him at the con.
Yeah, he seemed pretty subdued,
a little run down, but people get that con cred and they don't feel very.
There was a few Carol Core people. Carol Core, for those who don't know, that's like ever since they relaunched Captain Marvel a couple of years back with like her new outfit. Mm-hmm. There's like a small but loyal diehard fan base that they'll dress up like Carol Danvers in the new outfit and all that.
Fantastic costumes.
And that's the thing is the cosplay was so great.
Yeah,
like, I don't know much about cosplay. I've never done it myself. It's just I don't have any skills with sewing or anything. But and there's some great cosplay overall at the con. Mm-hmm. I mean, there always is, and it just gets better and better every year. But the Carol Corps was representing basically.
Yeah.
All their costumes look like real actual. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't like wow, they like full on like must have sewed these and like sat at like a. Like a sewing machine, and actually, because some costumes you can tell they're kind of pieced together and whatever. Like these look like legit.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see. And it's kind of cool too to see because like one of the girls, like the one of the Carol Core girls, that was like diehard into it. She's like, I only got into comics in like 2012. And it's sad too because you hear like, well, I used to be into it back in the day, but I was scared off by like asshole dudes at comic shops and stuff.
Right.
Again, being a dude, sometimes I forget because I don't get the same treatment.
Exactly, yeah.
And that shit pisses me off. But it's nice to see though that it's like, but you came back and you felt welcomed back at least, in the situation you've been in, and thank God for that. And it's like, and look how fucking passionate she was, right? I mean, you love it enough to like dress up and shit.
It's funny. It's hard for us because we work at a store owned by a woman who's like very well like. From day one when you start working in that shop, Gabby's like, this is Everyone that comes in the store is part of our family.
Yeah.
We treat them like we're family. We welcome them when they come in. We say
We've been
goodbye
spoiled.
we have been so spoiled by our local
totally.
shop that when I read stories about
Yeah.
women going into shops and just being like ignored and harassed, like it makes me sick to my stomach.
It
Because,
really
like,
pisses me off.
that kind of stuff would not fly. Like we would
No.
get fired for that.
Well, it's just because it's just being a fucking decent human being.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
And I don't get it.
Well, plus, don't you fucking want customers?
As a
You're
business,
not a business.
Thank you. As a business model, it doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah.
why would you be an asshole to anyone? Like, why would
Yeah.
if you're a business and
The customer's always right. It doesn't matter if they haven't fucking read Green Lantern number 248. Like, who gives a
Right.
shit, right? Like,
It
they want to
doesn't
read a
matter.
comic. They want to buy one. Like, fuck you for not
Yeah.
welcoming them into this community.
It's
I
so
don't know,
dumb.
that bothers me. Anyway,
Well, and that's one of the things I love about Comic-Con most is that because again, cosplay isn't my thing,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just.
it's a huge part of the fandom.
But it is, and I love to look at it. I think it's great.
Oh man,
I got really
there was
I got
an
really
awesome
stoked.
Patriot costume. Did you see that? The Young Avengers Patriot
I
costume.
didn't. I missed
Dude,
that one.
His costume was fucking
Oh,
fantastic.
man.
The Galactus.
No, I saw some pictures of it actually.
Yeah.
But I didn't see him in person.
Galactus was my favorite costume I saw. We talked about this a little bit last week.
I didn't see
too,
Galactus
but
either.
I have pictures. I'll show you.
Oh,
Galactus
man,
was dope.
nice.
And the AIM guys that showed up on Saturday.
AIM
which
guys
I
were
saw
awesome.
Pictures of. They weren't there any other day, so
there
I
was
missed
some
them,
there
but-
was some great Muppets too.
Oh, I missed that.
There was like a big Swedish chef and like there was
nice.
there was an animal and he full on had like the drums. And
Oh, that's sick.
they were great. We got stuck behind on the escalator, so I'm probably in a lot of photos somewhere inadvertently. It's like just I'm like me and my brother on the fucking escalator, just trying to get from one place to another.
Speaking of
Escalator,
you and your
this should have
brother
been
on
one of my
escalator.
first stories. So after the lawyer panel, as we're making our way upstairs, trying to get to the Marvel panel, which we don't realize at the time is halfway across the fucking convention. My brother gets on the escalator. I'm about to go behind him. There is a short, kind of older, large gentleman that gets kind of stuck between us. My brother accidentally cuts him off basically on the escalator. Turns around and is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, man. I didn't see you there." I look at the guy, and they're just talking back and forth. This gentleman and my brother Peter, and realized it's Peter David. My brother Peter. Yeah, cut off Peter David, one of my favorite writers, and
One of your brother's favorite writers, because
and one of my brother. That's the best part.
Your brother
That's-
loves
that's what they
Spider-Man
get.
2099.
So that's the best part, right? So they're, and it's funny because Peter David he's kind of like grumbling, like, "Oh man, I'm running late, and this con's so big, and I'm running late to my panel, whatever." And I know who he is right away, because I'm like, "Oh my god," But I'm just like sitting there letting them have their conversation because I don't want to be all like fanboy and be like, Mr. David.
Yeah, while
I
you're
just have
stuck
every-
on the escalator with him.
Yeah, that's
like, that'd be
awkward. And I'm
weird.
like, I just love every issue of X Factor. I just love what I do, but I don't want to be that guy, right? So I'm just chilling, let them do their thing. Gets off the escalator, Peter David goes his own way. I'm like, Peter, you know who that was, right? No, yeah. Like, that's how my brother talks for real. Like, that was Peter David. Like, oh really? Who's that? Like, fucking Spider-Man 2099, one of your all-time favorite books. X Factor, the Dark Tower series. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I mean, as far as like stuff that you would actually know and the stuff that you've read, oh my gosh, like yeah, what the heck? So and this was within the first hour of being there. And my brother cuts off Peter David in the escalator, so you know right away it's gonna be a fun day. I think Peter David was really friendly. And, like, he's just a regular guy like anyone else, but he's written a ton of books that I love, including All New X Factor that we talked about on the show. So yeah, man. So that was funny, and that was right away. Got to the Marvel panel. Marvel panel was a lot of fun. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna space on. Oh, after Marvel was Fantagraphics, is what it was. Yeah, Basically, I went to a bunch of panels. The Fantagraphics one, frankly, I wasn't super stoked on, but I wanted to see the DC panel, the New 52 panel, and I didn't want to see it for me because fuck DC, but I wanted to talk about it for the show. So because I figured, well, whatever, I podcast now, and we can talk about it. We'll have. But the Fantagraphics one actually ended up being kind of fun. So we were in the middle for the Marvel one. We ended up scooting basically all the way up to the very front during Fantagraphics. It was kind of cool because they're Seattle company. It's kind of cool because they talked about a lot of the business end of things. And that was kind of interesting. It was a little dry at first, but it kept picking up as it went along. Like they're doing a lot of Kickstarter funded stuff. Like one of the big guys of their company passed away a couple years ago, so they like kind of were dealing with that, and that's part of the reason they like did some Kickstarter stuff. And I realized as they started showing slides of their stuff, like, oh, we have a ton of Fantagraphics stuff at the shop. Stuff I didn't realize was Fantagraphics, like beautiful archival books. Like, so they do really good work. And like, I mean, so, like Love and Rockets is probably the one that, you know, they're probably most famous for, Los Hernandez brothers. But they've got like a lot of like the Peanuts reprints and like some really, really, really nice stuff. And Total hipster party during that one, of course. Like, you know, every dude in there had like fucking a plaid T-shirt and then like a Mac computer and shit, and like so that was hilarious. So I definitely felt out of place during that one because that's not me. But that was actually interesting. But you know, the initial intent on that was just to sit through to get to the DC one. But the Fantagraphics one was actually kind of fun. And my brother got a little bit out of it too. Again, just learning from like the business side of things, you know, because it's like, well, they've been around for 20 plus years and they're a successful business for, you know, a small publisher. But it's interesting seeing how they've struggled and what their views on like, you know, print runs and how much they need to do and like what they feel about digital and I don't know. That was kind of cool.
Did they have anything particular to say about digital? Because I was asking like everybody.
Yeah, they like the idea of digital. They the head guy, I'm forgetting his name, kind of feels like not everything should be digital. He kind of liked the idea of some things being exclusively in print and some things being exclusively digital, and you know, some things kind of being both. But you know, something about certain things being special. Personally, I'm of the mind that, you know, just doing both. I mean, I can easily go digital with almost everything now. With the exception being like some older books. Like I just hunted down some Doctor Strange reprints. Some books like that to me read better on a printed page. I don't know.
Well, they're also way cheaper physically than they are digital because you can get them in quarter bins and stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll hunt down.
It's always interesting with companies like that. I think that they're very much focused on like the presentation of the printed work, rather than the content of the stuff, because a lot of what they're doing is reprints or like creator-owned stuff.
In like
and
artist
so
highlighted collections too. Like they just got the EC license, which I didn't realize.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is that's a huge deal. I mean, EC pre-Comics Code. I mean, they were one of the biggest publishers around. They were
the best selling for a long time. So.
And you know, Comics Code came in and kind of fucked that up. But you know, instead of publishing things chronologically like you had seen with, you know, I think like I want to say Dark Horse maybe had the license before. I've seen some other, you know, EC reprints that are fairly recent. But
Dark Horse did some good ones.
They're doing they're going. Yeah, Fantagraphics' big thing is it's really like an artist-centric one, which is cool. I mean, I guess it's a visual medium, so it makes sense. That was kind of a pleasant surprise. I didn't realize that I figured like, Fantagraphics, I hardly know anything about them, and I certainly didn't know a lot. But I ended up, you know, realizing I had read more of their titles and was at least familiar with, you know, more of their titles than I thought. Like the Hip Hop Bible one that came out recently, that's been a pretty popular one at the shop. So that was fun. But then, so we were right front row center for the DC panel. Now, again, like we always talk about on the show, I mean, fuck DC. I was ready to be full of piss and vinegar and have all kinds of complaints and ask all kinds of questions. Like, basically, how everyone was treating Jason Aaron, I was going to treat those motherfuckers. I was going to be like, fuck you, DC. That was my plan. Jamie, at that point, was done doing all the signings and stuff he wanted to do, so he met up with us, just chilling right in the front row. The panel starts, and I have a fucking problem, though, right? Because the panel is Gail Simone, Scott Snyder, Jeff Lemire, and Charles Soule, and Brian Buccoletto. It's like, fuck, I like all of you. God damn it. Like, I was going to be so mad. I was going to yell. Oh, I was going to have some shit. Because you can't be like, you don't represent females properly if Gail Simone's there. And I felt like that was did you do that on purpose? Like, damn.
Oh, they did.
Because she wasn't on the list either.
No.
Like, she wasn't on the list. Because, like, suddenly I look over and it's like, fuck, that's Gail Simone right there because she came in late.
Yeah.
But,
I saw DiDio talking to Gail. And I said this, I think, on the other show, but I really wanted to make a shirt that says, Fire Dan DiDio. I'm still going to make that
Seriously.
shirt. But I wish I had been wearing it when I saw him at the con.
For real, man.
Anyway.
But, the DC one, ended up being. I felt really conflicted. Like I've mentioned on Top of the Stack before, and I'm sure I've probably mentioned on Views before. Like they're like my psycho ex-girlfriend, man, and like they keep doing things to make me love them, and then like every time I let my guard down, they murder my cat or something. I'm like, fuck, no, you're crazy, right? But then like they go away for a while, and then they do something cute, and then I start sniffing around again, and then they just stab me or something. They do something, but I was sitting there. And, you have Scott Snyder, who's, like, very passionately talking about, like, what motivates him as a writer. And, because honestly, I kind of lost interest in Batman. And his Batman was the strongest of the books, but Year Zero to me kind of, I don't know, I got bored with it. I just, and he's a great writer. I just,
the whole death in the families and, like, a lot of that stuff that got really crossover heavy.
That was the thing. It was event upon.
Yeah.
DC's doing this interesting thing now. Where they're letting events bleed into events. And Marvel's certainly been guilty in the past of doing things like this, but I feel like DC, like, until recently, I've never seen anyone but DC do this before. Like, there was Trinity War crossovers that were Forever Evil crossovers. Like, they had both banners on them. Like, you can be in two crossovers at the same goddamn time? I've never seen that before.
Well, there was stuff that, like, at the very last page of, I think it was Trinity War was the one before Forever Evil, like,
yeah,
that stuff leads like directly into Forever Evil. Like, Forever Evil picks up the next panel. Like I haven't seen that in an event in a forever, if ever.
Yeah, it's some bullshit. But hearing Scott Snyder talk about how passionate he is about just writing in general, know, and just like why, he writes the way that he does and the things that he does. Like I always found that really cool and really inspiring. And then they showed some slides from. The wrap up to Year Zero and like, wait, that looks cool. So I'm like, I kind of want to just start reading Year Zero again because I was caught up until that point and then I kind of fell off. But hearing him talk about it and then seeing the stuff that they show, they're like, dude, Commissioner Gordon has like a sweet beard. It's a full on beard, dude. Looks legit. Yeah, he was joking that. Oh my gosh, I'm totally spacing on the artist's name right now. The artist wasn't going to let him get rid of the beard, basically. He's like, no, I'm keeping the beard. Keeping the beard. It's happening. But that was crazy. And then Charles Soule, who, again, I love from She-Hulk, he was talking about Swamp Thing. And Swamp Thing, I jumped off after Snyder left. Because Snyder did such a good run. He did the first 20. And at the time, I didn't know who Charles Soule was. So I was like, oh, I don't care. I don't know who that is. But, again, he's talking about the character and the arc that he's taken. Because I guess he's introduced... people that used to be Swamp Thing before, like some of the older avatars for Swamp Thing, like there's this like hot Asian chick that like she wants like the body back now of the Swamp Thing, and she just like is a smoking hot Asian lady, so she has like all these cool looking like plant tattoos and stuff. I'm like, what? Like that looks awesome. Like what the hell is that? Like. So suddenly I'm like, damn, wait, they're actually selling me on some of these books, man. Because they got all the writers I like, If it was like, Scott Lobdell and shit up there, I would have been like, fuck you. But
yeah,
they like somehow it was like the perfect storm of like all the people I actually like at DC. I mean, I think Gail Simone's overrated, frankly, but she's good.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely
people act like her Batgirl's like the fucking second coming, and it's like it's okay.
It's not that great.
It's okay.
I don't like it at all, to be honest.
I got bored with it pretty quickly. I think you compare it to everything else in the New 52, and yeah, it's fucking brilliant compared to what else they're putting out, but it's not great.
I hated it right from the start because it was just like it just highlighted so perfectly like that this was a reboot. Like it just kept hammering it over and over into your head that like things used to be different, and I was like, why are you bringing this up constantly? Just like
one of the biggest sins to me in the New 52 was really just the lack of diversity in the first place. I mean, it's like we've pressed a reset button, and because if you look like even post Infinite Crisis around all that era, I mean, there was a lot more diversity in the characters when you're talking, gay characters, African American characters, whatever it is, there was a lot more of that.
There were a lot of different representations of like what families were like.
There was characters like Wally West that were allowed to be married and have kids, and then you had your eternal bachelors like a Bruce Wayne or something.
And you had Clark and Lois being married but no kid. You like had a lot of different representations of family.
Yeah.
and like Batman's family was very different than Superman's family, and like even extended family. And then you had the Flash with his family,
which I really enjoyed. And then they hit this reset button, and then it's like everyone is single. They made Amanda Waller hot. Why? Like that actually annoys me. Like
so much.
That was one that. So you made Amanda Waller hot. You took Oracle, who is the only paraplegic superhero.
There were two, but the second one, Proxy, can't exist without Oracle already having.
Oh, there was another character later.
Well,
see, I don't know as much about
in the
DCs.
Batgirl run. When Barbara was training Stephanie Brown, she was also training a replacement for herself called Proxy, who was a superhero had gotten injured and lost the use of her legs. And so it was like they were creating, like this great book about, oh, you can overcome adversity, you can still do great things, even if, you don't have the use of your legs. Like, doesn't mean you're done. Like, there's so much you could still do. And so it was a really great representation of characters. And then the biggest sin isn't just that they took her out of the wheelchair. It's that they told us that she used to be in a wheelchair. Yeah. And then just magically wasn't anymore.
Well, it's a slap in the face to any of your fans that are in that situation. I read a really cool blog. Oh my gosh, I want to space on her name right now. Her name's Jill something. She's she's got like cerebral palsy or something where she's in like a chair. Not all the time, but a lot of the time she is. And that was one of her favorite superheroes. I was kind of like, someone she could relate to. And it's like, it's a real slap in the face to someone like that, where it's like, because you will never get better and you will never heal, but this character did because comics. It's like that's just so insensitive.
Just magic, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I get it's comic
books. You already
books.
had a great fucking Batgirl. You already had an amazing Batgirl.
I thought she was and I thought Barbara Gordon was way more interesting as Oracle. I mean, Stephanie
absolutely.
Brown was doing great in the role. Mm-hmm. I mean, look how many people were pissed when they, negated that.
Oh yeah.
Cassandra Cain had her fans before. I mean, again, the whole legacy thing is just, it's just gone now. But I heard Charles Soule talking about Red Lanterns, another book I'd given up on pretty quickly because it had a different writer. Because I guess Guy Gardner is like the leader of the Red Lanterns now, and it actually sounded really cool because like Supergirl's like one of the Red Lanterns, but like, they don't want her to be a Red Lantern. They tried to get Superman to take her, and Superman's like, I don't know what to do with. Like, it's like that actually sounds kind of cool. Like, okay, and again, they're showing slides from it and stuff. Like, so yeah, I really wanted to hate DC because I still hate a very large chunk of what they do. Mm-hmm. But somehow with the New 52 panel, they got like all the writers I actually like, and of course Jeff Lemire's talking more just about Green Arrow and. Green Arrow is the only book that I'm currently caught up on in the New 52, and that one I still think is actually really, really great. It didn't get great until he started, and then he leaves. It'll probably fall apart again completely, but
I think that a lot of the problems with the New 52 will go away with time, because even right after Crisis on Infinite Earths, there was still like a lot of confusion. Hiccups. But it was a lot smoother than this transition, just because there was editorial story bibles. Basically, they were like, this is what the universe is going to be like. And talking to creators at the con, what I kind of learned was that there was nothing handed down to them to tell them what the other books in the New 52 were going to be like. Yeah, which is why the universe felt so disjointed, which is just
that makes a lot of
editorial
sense.
Oversight. It's just a fucking mistake, and it's why I want my Fire Dan DiDio shirt. But it's just like, how do you let that happen when like this is all your only job is to make sure that the universe works? Like, you are the editor.
Well, I mean, I always thought that's what the job of an editor was, you kind of help respect, the continuity.
Well, and also put the fucking books out on time and in the right goddamn order. Right. Not put number 4 of a 4-part miniseries out before number 3. I'm still mad about that.
Well, it doesn't make any sense.
Just fucking wait. Just wait to put the 4th one out. Like, it's not
Yeah.
Anyway, if you didn't hear, that happened like a week ago. They put out the part 4 before part 3 came out. It was stupid. But yeah, I mean, the writers aren't the problem at DC. Like, some of them are. Yeah. Some of them just aren't great writers. Like, they've lost a lot of their really
they scared off a lot of the good talent.
Exactly. But the problem has always been editorial.
It has been. And seeing seeing the people at the panel again, they have some great writers left. Like the people they have, I really really like. I really really like Jeff Lemire. I think he's
Hmm.
really great. I really really like Scott Snyder overall. I think he's really great. Charles Soule, I think he's really great. I don't know if
Francis
editorial.
Manipold's awesome.
Yeah, Manipold's great. Becca Leto seemed really chill.
Sterling Gates,
So
who's
I
not
don't know
DC exclusive.
if
but...
they're loosening the reins, or if it's just the talent they have kind of know that they have to just work under the conditions they're in. I don't know,
'cause
because
for a
it
lot
seemed
of
like they were
people-
telling some cool stories from what I saw. But again, I haven't
Yeah.
read any of them. I'm listening to their pitch of these books, but they
Right.
sounded actually surprisingly cool. So
Well, a lot of the like, I don't know how quite to put this, but I don't know. A lot of the ideas are really solid, and a lot of the writers are really like they're good writers and they're interesting people, and they have the best intentions going into this, and sometimes things just due to that kind of stuff can really be destroyed, because a lot of times they'll have one idea about what they're doing in the series, and last minute shit changes, and we've heard that story over and over and over again.
yeah,
being
well,
passed down by
editing
creators.
things as they go to trade and stuff.
Yeah.
They not as much foresight going into the books of maybe they had. I guess the thing that I'll leave on this particular subject was I actually felt hopeful about the New 52, and it shocked me honestly. Even like the beginning of that day when I got my pamphlet, and even looking online days before, trying to figure out what I was going to do, I wasn't going to go to the New 52 one, because again I was like, no, I don't. As I got there, I stopped thinking myself as less of a fan and more of a podcaster, more of a blogger, I guess. Once I got there, even though it's like, yeah, we do this for free and we just do this for fun, I guess I kind of felt an obligation to inform, to educate myself, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I sat in on it, because again, I was actually very pleasantly surprised, and I am hopeful. And I left confused, because I expected to feel one way, and I felt another.
What was the fan response like at the con, or at the that panel?
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because the interesting thing, like I said, the Marvel one was open up to questions the entire time. The DC one, it was them talking to you the entire time, and they allowed one question at the end.
What was the question? Do you?
Oh God, I don't even remember. It was something stupid, and they had to do the preamble before they asked it about it's Stephanie Brown's already coming back and Wally's already coming back, so don't ask about those two.
Yeah,
Just funny.
I'm curious as to know like that. Like, I wonder if other panels they've done where they allowed a lot of questions, like shit went south really fast.
Probably because it was pretty controlled. Well, and, I was talking to Toby on the way, home late, when the con was all over, and I told him how the two cons, how the two panels went, and he was like, well, there you fucking go. Like, that's the difference right there.
Yeah.
Marvel opens up and fucking listens to what you have to say.
right.
And DC tells you what you like, tells you what
Yeah.
you want. Yeah, I'm like, that's actually, I think that's actually a pretty fair assessment,
Yeah.
honestly. Just looking at the governing styles. Because it's not like Marvel literally writes down everything you say and, like, it does it. I mean,
Well, no, there's lots
but
of bad
it's just the
ideas
fact,
from
well, yeah,
fans,
there's
but-
a lot of shit out there, but at least the fact that that's an option. At least
yeah.
the fact that there's a forum for it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it just from a fan standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, fan response on the DC one seemed cool enough, but people seemed bummed that they didn't get to ask questions. Because
Yeah.
people suddenly were like, you could tell people were like waiting to line up, and then just the one guy got to go, and that was a bummer. Then after that we had a bit of a break. It was like 3:00 in the afternoon or something at that point, and met up with one of my brother's friends very temporarily at some fancy, I think it's called Pioneer Place or something, some super fancy mall that was like right down the street that had like tons of escalators. And I love like these super fancy malls that have like Saks Fifth Avenue and shit, and they're all like super ritzy and super expensive.
That's where there's a Jimmy John's in there, I think.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I was gonna get. It's like the best part, man. It doesn't matter how fucking fancy it is. Yeah, there's still like a fucking Del Taco on the bottom floor. You know what I mean, or whatever it is, like a fucking Orange Julius. It's like it's still a mall. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
That shit cracks me up. So we go up all the way up to the top, and we chat with these girls for a while, and they're just finishing their meal. I got some swanky Mexican joint. We went to this Thai place that was like right up there. There was a Captain America bar in between though, the Mexican place and there was it was called like something Captain America bar, and like we didn't go in there, but I kind of wanted to, but yeah, it was obviously like a very temporary location just to promote the movie. But I was like, that's weird. Like in this fancy, ritzy.
Yeah, I think
mall.
someone handed me a little brochure pamphlet thing for like an after party there, like the official bar of the after party of. But I think I got like 6 different ones that said like the official bar for that. So
yeah, it seemed really weird.
Yeah,
it seemed really weird. But yeah, we got some really good Thai food. I got some pad Thai.
Nice.
I like to go spicy. Usually they don't make my food spicy enough. Me and Jamie were trying to Manix up each other, so we both got it. Their heat scale only went to 4, but we each got a 10. Usually I can handle it. Oh my god, that was not. It was basically it
they
was
were
not.
Like, oh yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, like so we're both like staring.
Well,
this is what we're dudes. Dudes are stupid. So we're like staring at each other, as like eating, like fucking sweating balls. And I managed to eat it, but God, I think I drank about 12 glasses of water.
Oh my god.
And I'll just say the next morning I really regretted my decision. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, but then went back to the con after that. Yeah, shockingly, there was a bunch of my friends that I didn't see, like Kelly and Allison, my partners on
I saw
Out
them
of the
like
Fridge.
6
Yeah,
times.
a lot of people saw them. Well, and like Jamie, the funny thing is Jamie coming to meet us at the DC panel had run into them, but I never saw them. I saw a ton of people from the shop, and in fact, there was a lot of events that I was almost late to because I don't like to be rude and be like, "What's up, man?" and just keep rolling. So like, I made sure to stop and say hi to everyone that I saw. And I saw a lot of people from the shop, which was cool. It was definitely fun. But yeah, I didn't see many of my actual friends, which was interesting because I know a ton of people were there. And oh gosh, one of the last I think the last panel I went to was the Fables one. There
was a whole panel just for Fables.
There was. It was the last.
Oh my god.
It was. Oh, okay. After lunch, yeah, there's one more. There's one more I want to. Sorry, there's so many panels. So many panels, so much to do. We went to there was an image genre panel
cool.
first thing back from lunch, and that was really cool. So we had Kelly Sue again, Jason Aaron again, and Jason Latour this time. The two Jasons are working on a book called Southern Bastards that looked really cool. And Jason Latour actually just took over Wolverine and the X-Men from Jason Aaron. With the Southern Bastards book looked really cool. Kelly Sue was mainly talking about Pretty Deadly, which I'm really enjoying that book. Josh Williamson or something. Now, I'll confess, a few of the other guys I wasn't familiar with, but they had like the people that worked on 5 Ghosts, and which I know is a pretty popular one that Image is doing, and I'm totally sorry to I'm totally spacing on it's 5 Ghosts, the Fabian Gray one, Haunting of Fabian Gray.
I don't remember.
And anyways, it was really cool.
Was Ryan Otley at that one? I know
he was. Otley was not at that
okay.
one. Yeah, the biggest names definitely would have been like Kelly Sue and Jason Aaron on that panel. But that was really cool because again it was the genre books.
Brandon Graham on there?
They didn't. No,
that's crazy. He was.
Well,
there.
they were talking more like their sci-fi books and kind of like the.
He writes fucking profit.
Well, I know. I agree. I actually,
Simon Roy was there too.
Yeah, and Roy wasn't part of it either.
Yeah.
They had a different. Image had a different panel later that I saw on Flip On. I don't know if that was on Sunday or Friday or what, but there's one that Eric Troutman and Greg Ruck and some other guys were on. But that was a day I wasn't there. Time wasn't there because they talked exactly about Lazarus, one of my other favorite books right now. But yeah, that panel was cool. Interesting thing, I love Kelly Sue. She's really great. One of my favorite writers. Man, she really takes over, which was just not necessarily a bad thing, but I think if I was a panelist, I'd be like, "Hey, man," cause she'll straight grab the mic, she's me, let me tell you something, she's very entertaining, very funny, but yeah, so as a fan, I found it very funny, but I feel like if I was, there trying to pitch my book, I'd be like, "Hey, there's other people here, lady," Yeah. But again, I thought she was funny, and that was crazy. It was interesting too, because Jason Aaron during the Marvel panel had just briefly mentioned Southern Bastards, was kind of well, I can't talk about it here. I was just poor Jason Aaron. He was having a rough weekend, but he actually got to talk about it a lot during the Image one. And
Nice.
the Image one was a lot of fun. Right after Marvel Images, probably my favorite, company now. So, apparently Kelly Sue is going to be doing a book called Bitch Planet.
Nice.
And I fucking lost my mind when I heard that. I was like, that sounds amazing. I'm already sold. I don't even know what it is, and I'll buy it. Like, I don't even care. And I guess, like, when the cover's full on had someone just, like, flipping off, like, the reader. Like,
Nice.
what? Like, that, I don't know. That sounds hilarious. So, I'm sold.
Nice.
But so the Image one was a lot of fun. Between the Image one and the Fables one, which the Fables one actually started after the con closed, like, officially. And it was all the way up in, like, the 6th floor, which at that point I hadn't gone to. Yeah, that was fun. So I had, like, an hour or two to basically run around and try to meet people. And so, I went and I talked to Kelly Sue, because during the Marvel panel, when I thanked him for everything, she said she'd give me some dog tags if I swang by her booth. So I talked to her, let her know that on Out of the Fridge we did a spotlight episode on her, so I gave her one of my cards from the show. And
Nice.
Just chat her up for a little bit.
As a podcaster, that was one of the cooler things about the weekend, was I would talk to the creators and be like, oh, I talked about your show, or I often will mention your book. Like, I talked to Anthony Johnson about Fuse and the Umbral, and he was like, "Oh, I watched that episode," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So
so cool.
Been checking his Google alerts, and so that was cool. And then I talked to Ryan Otley. We're gonna be doing Invincible as our long run. And I told him about it, and he was like, "Oh, well, tweet at me when you guys do that." So it's cool that the creators are like really interested in what people are saying about their books.
Yeah.
And so as a podcaster, it was really cool to get the feedback of like, "Oh yeah, I'll definitely check out what you guys are doing," or like, "Oh, let me know, send me a link," or "Do you have a card?" And
I think it's,
stuff. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I think it's really cool. I mean, that's part of the reason we do this thing is like, wow. I mean, because you're doing the work and putting it out there, but I feel like, well, our job is to, be critical of it, and if we like it, we'll hype it up. And
exactly.
You know what I mean?
As much as it is like, I don't really like the idea of being a critic. What I like is the idea of let's get the stuff that I do like into the hands of people I think will like it.
Absolutely.
Like it's more about promotion than it is about.
I kind of view myself as more of a hype man. Like I know
critic,
on Out of the Fridge, the mission statement was always like stay positive. So like,
yeah,
if there's a book we cover that I don't like I'll just be like, it's not my cup of tea, and I'll move on to the next thing.
On View, we tend to do more like critical analysis, but for me, definitely Top of the Stack is all about like the weekly video show Top of the Stack is all about like let's just let people know what's going on.
Oh, definitely.
So it was cool to talk to creators about that. So
well, I love being able to like actually talk just directly to them. It's one thing to send them a message or and maybe they'll respond back, but it's like, hey man, we talked about it on the show, and like you just shake their hand or whatever, and I don't know, that was really cool. Oh, and have people like respond to it, because some people don't respect what we do or don't care. They act like they're too big for it.
Yeah,
paradoxically, it's usually the smaller press people, and like, you know what I mean? Like it's interesting because then I've noticed like the people like the Jason Aarons and the Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Yeah, because fucking Ryan Otley does not need any more press.
Right?
Like,
there's people that are like you've already made a name for yourself,
right.
and they tend to be the ones that are like super friendly and will like go out of their way to like retweet something you said or reblog something or you know what I mean, give you a shout out. And it's like it's saying something nice about your book or whatever, but it's also helping us out too, and so it's kind of a mutually beneficial situation. So that's definitely a lot of fun. And again, if you're already like a fan of the work, it just makes it that much cooler. But I didn't plan things very well, which is not a shock. If you ask my wife, I never plan things well. Ever.
Well, you had a fucking itinerary. That's
I did, but then I had a modest stack of things to get signed. I brought my backpack, and I just had a few trades and things. I got to meet Matthew Southworth. He's the artist on Stumptown Volume 1 and 2. That's a Greg Rucka crime fiction. Really, really love those stories. And Greg had signed my copy at the shop during Free Comic Book Day last year because Greg is actually friends with my boss, and he's been to the shop tons of times.
Constant collaborator with Eric Troutman.
And works with Eric Troutman quite a bit, which is really, really cool. But so I needed to meet Matthew Southworth finally, and I did, and he was super friendly, and he did a cool sketch for me in my.
Did he
in my
break
book.
your heart like he broke my heart and tell me that he's not going to be on the next Stumptown?
I actually didn't know that at the time. He
Yeah.
asked me if I'd read. I actually read that today, actually,
Yeah,
because
he
I guess I'm
told
making it
me.
ongoing now.
He told me at the con, and I was like, "What?"
I didn't. Yeah,
And I
I
was like,
didn't
"Well, I'm
know.
gonna go over to Greg and tell him that he's the worst person ever
He,
now, and tell him that you said that."
He asked me if I had read Volume 2, which I hadn't yet. I told him I owned Volume 2, and I was really looking forward to it, and I absolutely loved Volume 1. And
Volume 2 is great. I had just read it like a week before the con, so.
yeah, sadly I still haven't read it, and I own it. But now I'm trying to read Invincible. I finally started reading Invincible.
Oh yeah,
News.
So
I've
proud of
read
you.
the first 30 issues now, so
So proud of you.
I've got 2 weeks or something to try to read everything. I'm gonna get as far as I can. I probably won't read 109 issues in that time, but I will.
You'll get close.
Yeah. Honestly, at the rate of going, I'll do all right. And it's been a great read so far. So definitely one of my new favorites. So that's
nice.
been awesome. But now I'm talking about Invincible. I'm totally thrown off what I was talking.
You're talking
before.
about Matthew Southland and that they're making
Matthew
Stumptown
Southworth,
an ongoing.
really cool, really friendly guy. The funny thing too is, so remember how I mentioned the first thing I did was drop off books for Rucka. Matthew Southworth, I'm looking all over the place for this guy. Hours later, he's right across from Greg.
Yeah, they're literally like 4 feet from each other.
So who felt like a dumbass? That was great. So that was fun. And I talked to Kelly Sue. I wanted to get G. Willow Wilson, but she was super busy. She
was at a lot of the panels.
And she must have been going to a lot of panels and doing a lot of other signings because she's the writer on Miss Marvel, which if you're watching Top of the Stack, you know that we love that book.
Yeah, I talked about meeting her on last week's episode of Back Matter. So.
But I really want to meet her. But and she was right next to Kelly Sue. But again, she was busy. So
she was awesome.
Then Charles Soule, even though I met him, or I saw him at the panel, the DC panel and the Marvel panel, I didn't get a chance to get his signature because I brought She-Hulk #1. I would have loved to get that signed. But I did get to meet Matt Kent, who's one of my new favorites. I had just purchased, just specifically for the con, the Volume 1 hardcover of Mind MGMT. At that point, I think I'd only read 3 or 4 issues, but I knew, and I read enough to know that I really, really, really liked it. And I had read Super Spy by him, so it's it wasn't brand new to reading him, but was new to the book. And again, he was super friendly. It took forever to find him because he was in a whole different section with tons of vendors and stuff. And the show floor was definitely.
I checked the map a lot. And
I had to look on the map all the time. I look like a tourist in
Yeah.
Times Square,
I
always
have
staring at this map.
a really good sense of direction. So once I figured out where the booths were, I didn't have to consult the map as much. But I was still looking up people's names to figure out what table they were at because there's no way I'm gonna remember all of that. But
yeah, it was pretty bad. I got lost a whole bunch of times. But I met Matt Kent. He was super friendly. He was cool, he full on stood up, got out of his chair, shook my hand, introduced himself. I don't know, just I don't know, it just blew me away. Well, man, you don't have to do anything like that, and you can. Most dudes they still acting cool, just sitting in their chairs or whatever. Damn, he just shook my hand I'm just some big deal, and that was cool. And he did a sketch for me as well, signed my book, and thanked me for the support, and that was really cool. And
did you get a chance to go talk to the Revival guys and get any Revival?
I didn't. I walked right by him, and I was like, "Oh, dude, Mike Norton, Tim Silly," and
yeah,
I love
they
that
were
book.
right next to each other too.
One of the key problems that I have now with my collection is, as I've mentioned before, I'm trying to downsize my collection. I read a lot of stuff digital now, and. So I go to
just have them sign your iPad. That's what
people do that, man. If I had actually planned, I would have had more prints or even bought an issue or something just specifically to have them sign.
I happened to have an old issue of it's Hack Slash, and the cover was Mike Norton, and the interior is written by Tim Seeley, obviously. And so I was like, yes, double whammy.
Nice. No, because I do love them, and I did see them there. I know, my friend Allison, she talked to them a whole bunch because she's a big fan of theirs. And
Mike Norton was the highlight of my Friday, talking to Mike Norton. Nice. So I've been a huge fan of his for a long time, so that was really cool.
Yeah, Jason Aaron's the only one other signature I got, and again, he wasn't like too talkative. He looked really tired. He looked kind of out of it, but he was friendly. He was really cool, and I love Jason Aaron, so that was cool.
Yeah,
I never know how to act. Like I never have too many questions, because I don't even know what I would like say. I usually just want to be like, hey, thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think that's what they really want.
Because I already know that's like, a lot of the questions I have you can't answer.
Right.
You know what I mean? To be like, how long are you going to be on the book? And
what's coming up?
What's coming up? Exactly. And it's like, well, of course everyone wants to know that, but you can't.
Right. Yeah.
And I understand they can't talk about that stuff. So really, usually when I meet someone I like, it's just thank you.
It's nice. I was able to ask some of the like more mainstream creators, like, oh, are we going to see some creator-owned work from you? Like that's something I always like to ask because I think they really, the creator-owned stuff is the stuff that is the closest to their heart for sure. So if they're working on a project and they want to talk about it, like it's a great way to get them talking about stuff you maybe have never heard of before. So I like to do that. Ask them about what they're creating their own books a lot. So
let's see, and so the image panel was definitely fun. They talked about a few of the books that I haven't read, but that are really popular at the shop. Like Five Ghosts I haven't read yet, but that's a fairly popular one. It definitely got me hyped up. Oh, there's one nail biter that's coming out. The cover was just horrifying.
Man. Yeah, the serial killer.
Yeah,
book?
But that sounded
super
cool.
Pumped for that, yeah.
It sounded cool. Yeah. It looks really good. So again, I was already a big image guy, and this just was kind of making me more so. After scrambling to get things signed, the con is starting to shut down at this point. My friend Jamie he's talking to this guy, I want to say his name was like Ron Don Randall or something. He like worked on some book called Trekker back in the day that Jamie's really into. And,
I think he did a sketch for me.
Yeah. It seemed like a really friendly guy.
Keep talking, I'm going to go look for this.
Yeah, they were chatting it up. And the con's like shutting down, and so like I'm trying to be cool because again I don't like to be rude, but I'm like standing there like, hey man, like the con is yes, that's him, the guy that does Trekker.
I went and grabbed the sketch. Yeah,
so,
he did a bunch of Supergirl art before Sterling Gates came on the book, but after Rucka left, so like in the low 20s, the Supergirl.
Oh, interesting.
Pre-Infinite Crisis stuff, I think, or
yeah,
around then. And this is his new character, Trekker. Well, it's not a new character. The omnibus is out, but this is his.
They've revived it recently.
Yeah, he's got a new series going on this one, and he did a cool sketch for me on the back of his business card promo thing. And she's a female bounty hunter, sci-fi type book, and it's pretty sick. So
it's one Jamie's really into.
You can read it for free on his website too,
nice.
So definitely check that out. It's trekkercomic.com, so check that one out.
Yeah, so the con is like shutting down. Well, and the best part, right, is like Jamie's talking to this guy. We're, trying not to leave Jamie behind. Because at this point, my phone has died, even though, I charged it before I left. And again, I tried to play him. So the phone's dead. Because the whole thing is like, hey, we can just leave each other, right? Because you can text me later. It's not a big deal. I know it's a big con, but cell phones. But no, those cell phones don't work if the shit isn't on. So we have to wait for Jamie at this point. And they're just talking and talking and talking. I look over, and right across from Randall's booth is, I can't remember the name of the company, but they do like digital only, and it's like,
oh, it's Lion Forge.
Yeah,
right?
It looked bad. Like it was like Saved by the Bell comics and shit.
Oh yeah, they had the license for Miami Vice, Knight Rider, Saved by the Bell, Punky Brewster. They have like all the worst licenses you could ever imagine. And they had a huge booth that was like light up, and there was like music playing and stuff. And it was all spectacle, and you could tell that it was like, this is a startup company that's like, I hear comic books make kind of money.
Right. I felt like it was something you would have seen at like E3 back in like 1992 or something.
It looked
from
awful.
Some like... Yeah, it was weird. Like they had some like inflatable bubble thing that was like playing videos and shit. Like
it looked.
It
terrible.
Was really cheesy, and
no one was going over there. Either,
oh well,
which is like
why would
really
you?
Sad.
Well, it's funny. My brother was actually flirting with the girl that was working there.
Oh, great!
What's up? And she was probably glad to just have anyone talking to her because she was probably bored. Never mind. But
well, there's obviously a lot of money behind that booth and that company's.
That was
promotion.
Interesting. Like how much. Yeah, how much are you paying just
Because it was
to
like the size
have a
of like
presence?
4 average booths. Like it was big. It took
And
up a
those booths,
big.
even renting one booth is not cheap.
No, it's not. It's a couple $100, I
Yeah.
think, for the weekend. Like $200, I think, for the whole
And it
weekend or
was like, yeah,
something.
it was
It
like a
depends on
buck
where you
99,
are.
and they had some like QR readers, so it's like, oh, for only $1.99, just scan on your smartphone now, and like you can read fucking Knight Rider #1 or whatever. Like, and it looked bad. I mean, like even if you like those licenses, like the art did
no
not
one
look
really
good.
does.
Well, I mean, no one I know in the right mind does. I liked that stuff when I was like a kid, but I
Yeah.
was like 5 when a lot of that stuff was popular. But yeah, it did not look good at all. But it was just funny because I'm killing the time trying to get Jamie to go up to this Fables booth. And then so there's this massive torrent of people leaving at this point because the con is like officially over, and we're walking up flights and flights of stairs past like thousands of people like going in the opposite direction.
Uh-huh.
And we get up to the Fables one, and that was really cool because Fables is one of my favorite Vertigo books. And in the brochure, it said there was a big announcement coming out of it. And at this point, they had already said on like Newsarama and all these sites that Fables was in fact ending soon. So I see that. Oh wait, there's a big announcement. Like, cool. Does that mean like maybe they're gonna like relaunch something or continue one of the books with someone else? Or I don't know. So the first thing when we get up there, like, yeah, the big announcement is Fables is still canceled, and they spoiled it early. Like, damn.
Oh.
Well, that's a bummer. So there is no announcement because it's already the announcement we knew. So right away that. It was kind of boring. And honestly, that panel was boring. Kind of. It sucks because
I can't believe that they would do. I mean, I guess if the whole panel, the intention was to be like, "Hey, we're gonna have a nice send off for Fables,"
and
like,
I think
this
that was
is where
the point.
It
was weird. It was part just really boring lecture, but then it was part like fucking Oprah, where it was like they'd bust out like T-shirts and be like, "Who wants a shirt? You get a shirt, and you get a shirt, and you get a shirt. Who wants a signed book? You get it."
Weird.
Like my brother got a signed copy of Dead Boy Detective because there's a couple girls that were walking around and they were like his minions or whatever, and it was like if you impress the minions, like tell them something they want to hear, like they'll just give you stuff. But it's all like up to the discretion. So my brother, said whiskey to one of them, and they thought that was awesome. So he got a. I don't
Your
know.
brother knows how to win those
I know.
women.
My brother. I know. I'm not talking about my brother is actually fucking smooth as fuck and charming as fuck. I know. No, this giant fat man with a beard. He's all hairy
Who
and
shits
shit.
himself
And
after eating Jack in
he's
the
a
Box.
shit machine. But this man is smooth as fuck when he wants to be. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how
Well,
he
he
does
knows what ladies like.
it. Honestly, no, for real. My brother's really good with girls. It's really funny. I mean, I'm the one that's married and has kids, and he's fucking single and cries and masturbates every night. But he knows how to. He knows
Your
how to
brother is
flirt.
gonna be so happy when he listens to
He
this
will be.
episode. He's
He
gonna
doesn't
murder
listen to
you.
anything I say. He never listens to me. He doesn't listen to me. But
Well, it's too bad that the Fables panel was just kind of.
it was too bad. Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine going to a panel of
It was-
just Fables. I mean, I know there are like 10
yeah.
spin-offs.
It was a lot of like self-congratulatory, just like, and I want to think. It was kind of like a fucking. I wish I had like the wrap it up, B. It was
Yeah.
just like I want to thank so and so for working. Look at this.
Where's the music to play?
Yeah,
them off?
exactly. I needed the wrap up music. So it was just weird because it's like. Also, it's like. How can someone who writes such interesting stories be so dull? Like, I don't know.
Actually, like, I love Jay Farber to death. Like, I think he's amazing, and I love a lot of the books that he's written. Like, I really like Dynamo 5. I love Noble Causes. But his interviews are some of the most boring things I've ever listened to because, he's very articulate in writing. He's very interesting in writing, and like some people just, that's where they live. That's what they like to do. So it happens.
But it was weird. And then the only thing after that, well, it's funny because the kid Nate that we went up with, he's a kindergarten teacher like my wife, which is hilarious. But I guess he DJs and stuff is like part of his big thing, and it's more like like kids dances and stuff. I don't know anything about electronic music, so
Hardcore kids dances.
I don't understand what like a DJ does. To me, it looks like they press a button, but I guess I've been assured that there's talent behind it, and I'm an asshole for thinking the way I think. But I play guitar, so I play a real fucking instrument. So, anyways,
oh, shots fired.
Oh, come at me, bro. Say it. Write your hate mail to Eric. And,
Eric can be from the
But yeah, there was supposed to be a costume party after the Fables panel. And that's part of the reason, because otherwise it's like, well, we just would have left earlier, like everyone else did, right? But But this DJ kid was like, dude, that'd be sweet, man. I want to see what this party's all about. Maybe that was some bumping music or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in my mind, I was envisioning, because they said it was a costume party. So I'm thinking, all right, bunch of geeky people and cosplay, just some bumping music. That sounds cool. I knew a bunch of people that were going to be going to it. So like a lot of my friends I didn't get to see during the day. We'll just kind of hang out for a couple hours, and that'll be a cool end of the day. And you know. And we got up there because it was right next to the Fables panel, and it was just gigantic room, and some dude like the Clockmaster or something, and he was mildly funny. But everyone was seated, and it was just like people were kind of coming up and like showing off their costume, and then like leaving, and then someone else was coming up, and it was like
I was more like a costume.
It was more like a review, and it was like, I mean, and that was fun and all, but it's like it's not what we were.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a party animal, so I don't care. If it had been like a real actual party, I wouldn't have been any fun because I'm old and boring and married, and I don't care. But the DJ kid, his poor little heart was broken. He was like, oh, powered down. And so that was fun. At that point, I had to try to charge my phone for a few minutes, figure out what the fuck we were going to do next, because we clearly weren't going to sit there for 2 hours watching people like curtsy, you know, in their little cosplay things. Ended up and I realized at this point that I still had my boss's badge and I had to get it to her, and Eric had already left at that point, so I was like, oh shit, yeah, I should probably make sure to get your badge so you can actually get in tomorrow. Thankfully she was at a restaurant that was like 7 blocks away or something. Nice. We just got to the car, paid our $26 for parking. Just met up with her, dropped off the badge, and then headed home, talked a bunch of shit about all the stuff we saw, and we ended the day at Denny's all the way back in Lacey. And I had a burger and some coffee, and God knows what my brother had, something. Oh, something. I think it was a chicken fried steak. He had something that was. No, you know, my brother always. I mean, my brother gets the grossest shit. Like on my wedding day, my fucking brother, we went to Denny's in the morning, and he got this breakfast fajitas. It was literally like a pancake, and you would throw like scrambled eggs and bacon in the pancake and pour fucking maple syrup and roll it up like a fucking taco, right? But so this time, what he did was it was a pancake, and it had peanut butter and chocolate on it. It looked so rich. It looked like, I don't know, goddamn.
I do love peanut butter on pancake, though. But
I mean, I love peanut butter, I love chocolate, but it looked like a lot. Like, it looked super rich, and like it looked like it was like 5,000 calories. That was that's kind of how we ended our day. Nice. And it was definitely fun. I'm glad I went. I advise going 3 days if you can, because it was kind of like you blinked and it was gone. It was a lot of fun though. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know. I don't know what else I have to say. I'm sure there's other. Oh, so the other escalators thing. Because the Peter David one was funny, and that's definitely like the best story I think I have from Comic-Con. But after the DC panel, when we're going to go to lunch and meet up with Peter's friends, we get on the escalator this time, and Scott Snyder is right behind Peter. So right away, I'm just like, what is going on today? Like, every time we get on an escalator, my brother's just like the tractor for like my favorite writers, man. It's like, jeez. It was just those 2 incidents, and there was nothing after that was, you know, remotely that exciting. But it was still pretty fun and pretty weird. Because again, my brother each time was like completely oblivious. He has no idea who Scott Snyder is.
I would definitely advise going 3 days if you can. And if you haven't gone to Emerald City, like I said last week, if you haven't been and you're like a fan of comic conventions, but you've been to like the big ones like New York and San Diego, and you're kind of tired of like how big they are, I would definitely check out Emerald City. It's a good smaller con, but it's still, there's a fucking ton going on there.
Yeah.
You will not be bored. And I also think that if you've been to smaller cons and you're looking to maybe go to something a little bit bigger, like Emerald City is a good transitional con. I don't know how people just jump right into San Diego.
No,
having been to Emerald City like 4 times, I still don't feel like I would want to go to San Diego or New York. Like, they're too big. I'm looking at stuff like C2E2 and Was the World Chicago, and I'm like, those are a little more my speed. If I was gonna go to any con
San Diego's
far away,
San Diego's too Hollywood for me. You know,
it's
like
it's hugely expensive. It's fucking packed all the time. Artist Alley is like always like really hidden.
But
it's not
just,
about the comics.
Well, like I've even I've never been. I know several. I have several friends.
Oh,
my
we have
buddy
a lot
Courtney
of
went for like 10 years in a
customers
row.
at the shop go to San Diego every year. So,
but I've heard like professionals say they don't feel like included in it anymore.
Yeah,
like it's more of a Hollywood thing. It's like I don't know. To me, it seems too big now. That's
yeah,
just my
it's definitely
from someone who hasn't gone. So take that for what it's worth.
The comics feel like they take a backseat to everything that's going on. It's a very cool, like if you're into that kind of geek culture type stuff. I think it's a very cool event. But if you're there because you want to know about comic books, like printed comic books, I think that Emerald City's better.
And that's, I mean, I'm a geek. People that don't know me assume that, like, I'm into, like, Star Trek and Star Wars and, like, magic cards and, like, anything that a quote-unquote geek would be into. And it's like, I'm honestly not. Like, I really love comic books, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I definitely consider myself a nerd, and I wear that badge with pride, but it's just comics to me. Like I don't.
And that's the cool thing about Emerald City is there's not a huge video game presence there. There's not a huge card game presence. Like they moved the card game stuff to another building. There are Hollywood guests, but they're kind of in their own space.
Yeah, the focus is
Hollywood
on the
events
still,
are like separate events. Like the Judge Dredd thing is like that's totally separate. And what I love is that it's so much about comics, and there are so many artists there. Like even if they're not comic book artists, even if they're just like local artists, like there were some really cool like sci-fi graphic design artists that were like, these guys just do like spaceships and like cool HUD layout graphic design stuff, and they're just like all about design for sci-fi.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with comic books, really. But they were there because, like, the artist community is really strong.
Well, it's still
there.
art,
It's like,
and
it's really cool.
Art,
and
I think that's cool.
Yeah, and so I think that if you're looking for a con that is, like, very unadulterated and just, like, very much about comic books.
That's another good point, too, Andrew. I think the one of the most exciting things for me is the ability to discover new creators there.
Yeah.
Like, there was... I'm going to space on his name. But there was a comic that, the first issue was free on Comixology, and it kind of this, like, cute girl, and had this, like, weird, like, little cat, and, like, it was just, like, kind of their adventures. And the first one was for free on Comixology, and I downloaded it, and I really thought it was cute, and I liked it, and I kind of just forgot about it. My brother bought it. He had the guy was there that did that book, and he had a couple of really nice hardcovers, and my brother bought him, and he got some prints from him. It was just funny because I'm like, oh my god, like this guy, like a year ago I downloaded that book and I really enjoyed it, and I totally forgot about it. It's like, dude, you're here, and he was like super cool and super friendly, and his books were really nice, really well put together. And it's so funny because my brother just bought them and was like showing them to me. I was like, dude, I've read that before. That's so funny, but I hadn't read the entire story.
A couple books that I learned about there that I hadn't heard about before. High Crimes.
I love High Crimes.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about that one before.
There, yeah,
Ibrahim was there. Saw that. I learned about that.
High Crimes is a digital. Is it digital first, or I think it's
digital only, except that they printed some single issues for that con.
Oh, interesting. See, because
or for some cons, but there's like it was.
My
digital
buddy Chris
first.
kept telling me about High Crimes because he's met Ibrahim a few times, and
when I met Ibrahim, Chris was there, which was
well, there you go.
So
our good friend Chris Johnson, who has yet to be on the show but really wants to be.
He's been on Out of the Fridge before, though, right?
He's been on the Out of the Fridge twice now.
Yeah, we will definitely get him on View from the Gutters or Back Matter.
He just moved into town. He was like
he lives like 2 blocks from the studio.
So now he's
no
in
excuse.
When I told him about Invincible. The long run, he like lost his mind.
Yeah,
so he definitely wants to be on that one if at all possible.
yeah, for sure.
But
I learned about was it the Murder Book? The first one, Simon Roy did some illustrations. It's Ed. I've totally spaced on his last name.
Or something like that?
I learned about that one when I was at the con. I read the first 3 issues of that, and it was super good. So definitely check that.
That's the coolest thing
is
being able to walk. I mean, it's nice. It's awesome being able to meet like people that you already know that you love, and especially when they actually end up being really cool. But it's also cool too because there are like a lot of they're not all local people, but a lot of them are like cool local people that just publish their own work, and that's really cool being able to like go up, buy this book or buy this print or whatever, and know that you're directly supporting.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is cool is like when you go up to like Richard Starkings or something and you buy Elephant Men directly from him, you know that he's seeing a lot more money of that than when you buy it from a comic book store and
Did
stuff.
you notice too? A lot of the times you can make deals with them too. I noticed when I was talking to Kelly Sue, Matt Fraction, her husband, was right next to her booth, and someone was talking to him, and he wanted I think it was the first couple of Hawkeye trades, and he sold them to him for like $10 a piece or something, where they only go for at least like 15.
And when I was at the
that's sweet,
the 2000 AD cool. booth, like I got a book for half off, so which is really cool. So
Andrew found me some sweet Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah, as the con was closing on Sunday.
That's another good point. So if you want to go shopping,
yeah,
and you can hold out, again, some stuff might be sold out that you want. Definitely don't hold out for the exclusive stuff.
Yeah,
but if you just want to find some sweet old back issues or something, hold off till Sunday. A lot of times those vendors don't want to carry that stuff back.
Oh yeah, I mentioned that last week, but I didn't tell the story where we were like running up the stairs because I was like, oh man, I forgot to grab. Well, because we were texting each other during the con, and something about being in that building with like 4 million other people that are trying to text, like the text messages like slow down in the air like it's syrup, so you don't get the text messages right away, and at least not on my network that is not good, and I got your text about the Doctor Strange, like, after we had left to go get my friend's stuff out of his car so he could meet his ride, and I was like, oh, man, we'll run back. So we're, like, in the last 5 minutes of the con, I'm, like, digging through a back issue full of Doctor Strange really fast, and I pull out just a ton of them, and I'm like, what's the...
Well, thank you, sir.
Well, no, it's fun, because, like, they're trying to make deals. They're wheeling and dealing as the con is closing. Like, the bell's going off, like, the con is now closing. I'm pulling a huge stack out, and I'm like, there's 20. What can you do for me? And they're like, boom, cheaper than 20, what they priced, and it's like that's the kind of stuff I love. That's what I live for, and they want to get rid of that stuff too.
I got a funny. So. My side of that story was pretty funny too because this was Sunday. I only went Saturday, so Sunday I'm working. I was ringing up a customer, helping them out. And Andrew calls me on the shop phone, which I was like, why is Andrew calling? Like, he has my cell phone.
Well, I knew you're at work.
Right, but I was visiting this customer, so I was like, at first I didn't know who it was. I was like, oh, there's a customer on the phone for you. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to call him back. I'm with this customer.
Well, and
then so Sam,
Elliot, who answered the phone, like didn't know it was me, so he's like, oh,
Mr.
Manix is busy right now. That
was hilarious.
It's fucking me.
I know, it's so funny because then what happens is I think he finally figures it out. So then he writes down Chard. All he writes down is Chard and then Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it's like.
And so I'm ringing this customer, staring at this piece of paper, like, what is it mean? Because I love Doctor Strange.
I was like, tell him I found some sick Doctor Strange issues.
Oh man! Well, because we've been toying with the idea of doing some kind of podcast or doing something with Doctor Strange. So I'm like there must be some. So like this whole time I have this burning like what is it? What is it? It's like
this cryptic message I sent you.
You can't rush the work. You got to do your thing. But like, when I finally had a chance, I was like, oh god, what is going on? What's with Doctor Strange? What's up?
Yeah.
Sweet back issues. Which
is I found a treasure trove of Doctor Strange. So.
Heck yeah, and they were all ones I didn't have, which is awesome.
Yeah. So I think that pretty much sums up the 2-week roundup of. We didn't get to hear Matt's con experience.
I did run into Matt and his wife at one point right after leaving the I guess it was which one was it? One of the panels. I went for one of the panels, and him and his wife were there, and so I ran
into Matt a couple times. He wasn't able to give his 2 cents, so maybe on a future episode we'll talk about that a little bit. But I think we've pretty much beat the con wrap up to death, so 2 weeks of coverage is enough for us.
I'm done. I got nothing else.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will catch you guys next time. There is important comic book stuff to talk about, which is probably always. So see you next week, guys. Bye.